to show some for a talent show. I need to know what kind of talent show.
Hey, if you want.
Where are we going? We want to go to the like back. I'm gonna be back.
You're not broadcasting right now, correct?
I am, just to make sure that I can send out the link.
So you're live right now? Okay.
During the meeting, nothing you gotta really worry about. It's just like showing the link. We'll use this one. Just making sure people respond to this. Which way is zoomed out as possible. Start saying stuff.
But I had to sign into Google in order to view this.
Yeah, YouTube just makes people have to use a YouTube account now, like a Google account.
So it's just not restricted to the.
It's just a YouTube thing.
It's all good. I just wanted to make sure because I know you need to make like a Google document or something.
Oh yeah, it's not like that.
I found this ancient piece of technology in the piano lab, but I don't think it's what you need. It says S&S, which I think is just stereo to stereo maybe, but...
Maybe. I'm gonna be hesitant to check it right now, just in case I blow
If
something
you want
up.
to hang on to, I don't use it.
Yeah, but I'll check it out soon to make sure, see if it works. Problem with this is just it's not gonna work.
I don't like you right now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As part of our board meeting this evening here at the high school, we wanted to give a little bit of a performance of what our performing arts groups have been working on. This is our show choir, Take Note. We just had our second competition, and we have been placing, placed third, and then we placed fourth, where we've had really great remarks from our judges, and we're actually only 10 points from the leader in our last division. We have another competition this weekend in El Paso Gridley, and then 2 more in March in Watsika and Herscher. This is one song from our competition set. It's a version of Beyonce's I Was Here, featuring soloist Caitlin Rose, who is a senior, and Caitlin actually won Best Female Solo Performer at the Mantino this past weekend. So give her a round of applause.
was here. I've done everything that I wanted, and it was more than I thought it would be. I will leave my mark so everyone will know I was here. I wanna say I live each day until I die, to know that I put something in somebody's life. The hearts I have touched will be the proof that I leave, that I made a difference, and this world will see I was here. I was here. Everything that I wanted, and it was more than I thought it would be. I will leave my mark so everyone will know I was here. I lived, I loved, I was here. I did, I've done everything that I wanted, and it was more than I thought it would be. I will leave my mark so everyone will know I was here. I just want them to know that I gave my all, did my best, brought someone some happiness, left this world a little better just because I was here. I was here. I lived, I loved, I was here. I did, I've done everything that I wanted, and it was more than I thought it would be. I will leave my mark so everyone will know I was here. Everything that I wanted, and it was more than I thought it would be. I will leave my mark. I did, I've done, I was
Good evening. Good evening. Right now, we're going to feature the Kankakee Symphonic Band. We have an A and B selection. We just couldn't just do one number because we want to show both facets and also celebrating our Black History Month as well. So my first tune is a traditional march called Imperial March, and then our second tune is by Richard Smallwood, wonderful gospel composer. The song is called Total Praise.
August meeting of the Board of Education to order. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Archie, Boland, Gadding,
Present.
Johnston,
Present.
Verret,
Present.
Wells,
Present.
Williams.
Okay. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Toes, hold. Right, place. Post. Toes. Present. Arms.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the darkness has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Stormy the road we've trod, bitter the chastening ride, felt in the days that hope unborn had died, have not our weary, free, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our Father sighed. We have come over a way that when tears have been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from our gloomy past till now we stand at last, where our white wing of our bright star is cast.
Alright, thank you to the Kankakee High School Choir, to Miss Brianne, and to the choir directors. Excellent way to start the board meeting. Brianna, come back. Oh, I'm sorry. Good news. Superintendent's report, number 1.
So I know there's going to be a lot of discussion today on competency-based education, but I'm going to embarrass Brianna a little bit. I'm going to ask her to stand in front of us. I heard about Brianna's amazing voice when she was a 7th grader. And so I took her with me to Tinley Park and she sang the national anthem. And then she sang for a couple of presentations because I am a music person. And she sang for a couple of presentations for me. She was on her way to the state's attorney's program for fallen firefighters. And she explained to me that she had a grade that she wanted to increase in choir. When she explained it to me, I said that in order for her to increase her grade, she had to demonstrate competency in that group. Now, I cannot speak to you about specific social studies competency, English competencies, math competencies. That is something that the audit team would have to just explain to the board at some point. But I do know music competencies. And so I asked her to sing in front of a group of people in the middle of the office, one of the songs that she sang for a competition to demonstrate competency so that we could use that demonstration to bring up her grade in choir. Her original grade was a D, and she wanted to demonstrate competencies to bring it up to a higher grade. And so this is the piece that she sang in order to demonstrate her competencies to bring that grade in choir up to a higher grade. Again, I cannot speak to the other content areas, but she did request for me to look into that grade, and I did request that she show evidence that she deserved a higher grade, and I'd just like to ask you, do you think she deserves a higher grade? Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you. Good news. As Pregler and the Special Education Department, or a representative from the Special Education Department comes up with good news, district good news. The district would like to thank Dooley Lowe and Little Dirk's Neighborhood Heroes Foundation, I apologize, Foundation for purchasing Christmas gifts for 10 families and donating 56 pairs of Jordans for students in need. I would also like to recognize the city of Kankakee. They have out of their ARPA funds given Kankakee School District 111 $300,000 under the Youth Empowerment Program. That money will be focused on youth employment and developing the trades program. And we'll talk a little bit about that under Youth Empowerment.
Good evening, Dr. Walters, Board of Education. So we have with our Kankakee countywide Head Start program, we had a parent who donated, and this is the program at our Manteno site. We had a parent who donated $500, and then the parent works for Caterpillar. And so what Caterpillar did was to double match the donation. So the classroom in Manteno ended up with a $1,500 donation. And so, of course, we're always very happy when we get donations because that money is always utilized for our students. So that classroom, which is ran by Pam Clark, was given $1,500, and those funds will be utilized to purchase additional supplies for our students. So we're very happy for that donation.
Dr. Walters, Board of Education, Community, and Teachers, the Special Education Department would like to acknowledge our one and only district psychologist, Caitlin Zing, for being nominated for the Psychologist of the Year Award for the Illinois Association of School Psychologists. Although she did not win, she did make it into the top 5. She is a winner for our department and our district. We would like to thank you for all you do. Ms. Stanton.
We're on to item 2, instruction.
We have Jenny Way that is going to come up and talk about the software audit. So we currently have a data team. That actually goes through adult practices, student practices, information around software, curriculum materials, in order to give the cabinet, which is assistant superintendents and the superintendent's information about those big ticket items in terms of purchases. And so they have some other information they'd like to present, but they'll also present on the information that they found out about software.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Walters, board, community, parents, students. This winter, our data team conducted an instructional software review. Myself, along with Gabriel Garrett and Pam Sefor and Crystal Clifton, who are at a conference but are able to join us virtually if there are any questions, conducted a review. The instructional software and technology department with Dan Dannenberg and Melissa Fierro also participated. In addition, we want to thank our curriculum team, who are a team of district department heads and the teachers who completed the survey for us. The purpose of this review was to identify gaps and overlaps in our instructional software, along with the most effective software for our students based on data and teacher input. So we began with a survey for our teachers, and they were asked to evaluate programs based on 3 criteria. Did the students like it? Does it help students learn? And does it help to inform teaching? We placed the software in categories so we could identify these overlaps. The data was provided to Cabinet for review along with our curriculum team. Based on our review, we identified several overlaps and programs for elimination, as well as some other programs that we wanted to strengthen the implementation of.
During this process, we did not review in depth our core programs. Those are those software programs that are used for actual instruction in classes, as many of them are a part of multi-year contracts. And we did produce these recommendations, that the district review more in depth the multiple data platforms that we're currently using to make decisions around effective use of district and building-wide data analysis, that we create and provide recommendations for Tier 2 and Tier 3 prescriptive programs for how many minutes are used prior to our students using a less prescriptive software. And we also consider replacing Ames Web with Start Early Literacy for alignment and district assessment. Revised review document to determine the purpose of the software so it's more clear to instructional staff. review free software and determine if the district will support those free programs, develop an appeals process for the software that is not listed, revise the current software approval process, investigate user data and create quarterly user reviews, and then survey the staff so that we can determine areas of their software expertise and they can help provide support to teachers and content specialists throughout the district. Okay, do you have any questions?
Does the board have any questions? Mr. Boland?
I want to thank you. I think I'm the one you can blame for this. But I realized that we spent over almost $2.5 million last year on software. That's a lot of money, and I was concerned that we were overlapping and so forth. But I really appreciate going forward that we'll be able to evaluate before we purchase and understand whether we need to replace or implant it in another way. But thank you. I'm sorry for all the work, but I'm really grateful for it too. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other board members? Comments, questions? No? All right, thank you, Ms. Gabriel. And Jenny Way.
Mr. Sanders.
Our next item is finance.
We are requesting that the board have a special meeting on March 2nd to go over the finance committee information as well as begin the process of hiring for the transportation department.
Okay, so the normal finance meeting is set at 5 p.m. and the board is agreeable to that. We have several items we need to put on the agenda.
Yeah, and we do have a presentation that gives an overview of the finances in the past, going back to 2013-14, and then going forward 5 years.
Any questions from the board? No questions. Number 4, personnel. Ms. Fountain.
Good evening, Board of Education, President Wells, Dr. Walters. Just a few things on personnel side. So we are looking at the time of the year when we're searching for teachers and instructors to fill our classrooms. There are several positions that have been posted on the website, not due to lack of teachers in those particular positions, but we want to be proactive. We know that the teaching pool is a little low across not only Illinois, but also the United States. So we are actively going to job fairs and pursuing and putting up job postings and anticipated vacancies so that we're able to fill those positions if and when they become open. Also, I do want to speak a little bit about summer learning. We will conduct summer learning for our students in the month of June and July. We have already sent out applications to students and families so that they can sign up for summer learning. We've also sent out an application process to all of the staff members. And we are proud to say that we have over 100 teachers who apply for summer learning. There's a process, though, through that application process. We will be doing project-based learning in our summer learning program, and our teachers will be doing some professional development in project-based learning. So although we cannot fill all of those positions with teachers, because if we don't have the students for that, we can't fill positions for 100 teachers. We do have to have that process, and we will be using a rubric that is designed to make sure that we're getting everybody that we possibly can to support our students during summer learning. Are there any questions?
Any questions from the board about summer learning? No questions.
Thank you.
Ms. Fountain. We're on to number 5, youth empowerment.
I do have a number of youth empowerment employees that I'll ask to come up when we get to that slide. Our students that are a part of youth empowerment, if you're here, we have 800 students that are a part of youth empowerment. if you're here and you're a part of any activity related to youth empowerment, I know some of you didn't know we were going to do this. Could you please stand? So again, we have over 800 students that are participating in youth empowerment. I know there were some questions about the auditing process for youth empowerment, so I do need to explain the purpose of youth empowerment and how it was created. So the Youth Empowerment Program was developed through the R3 grant, and I affectionately call it the marijuana money because I want people to know exactly where it's coming from. There are some people that are against that. The money, it was allocated towards areas that were severely impacted by the war on drugs. So there was actually a map that showed the areas in Kankakee County that were significantly impacted by the war on drugs. It was not all of Kankakee, it was parts of Kankakee. There was a very detailed application or process in terms of the RFP when the application process or the grant writing process. One of the requirements is that you had to have some of the parts of the program had to have participants that lived in areas that were affected by the war on drugs. I did live and grow up in an area on the north side of Kankakee that was affected. We had a number of other people that were originally a part of the Youth Empowerment Program that also lived in these areas, and many of our buildings are in the areas. Again, it's not the entire city of Kankakee, but there are parts of Kankakee and parts of the rest of the county that were significantly impacted by the war on drugs. The Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority carefully approves budgets and budget revisions. The process, once we were approved, it is a countywide program. Once we were approved, they're not checking address to make sure students are living in those areas. However, once we were approved, we do have a very strict budget. Because we were in between assistant superintendent of businesses, I actually had the pleasure of writing that initial budget, and they were asking very detailed questions. For example, if you're buying 10 pens, why are you buying 10 pens and what are you going to use them for? And I'm not in any way exaggerating, which was very frustrating for some of our partners. And then I'll talk a little bit about our partners in youth empowerment also. The vision for the program was developed out of the need for Tier 3 services. Around 3 years ago, I remember it was Lorenzo's 8th grade year, there was a discussion about Tier 3 services, and then there was a question around what are we doing with those students that are considered Tier 1, they don't need as much support. Based on that conversation, I knew that we needed to find alternative funding sources, and we're very limited in terms of local funds. We receive about $20 million in local taxes, and we have a $70 to $100 million budget. And so in order to find alternative funding, we had this opportunity to write for the grant, so we wrote for the grant. It's like universal design. We wrote the grant for students who struggled. However, any student can participate. So one of the things that we look at in youth empowerment is how we struggle with adultism. Basically, adultism is not that we let students get away with anything. That we as adults are going to facilitate and support our students, but we're not going to create a system that the adults are more important than the students. And so youth empowerment is based on students are our priority. And you can see the definition. Adultism refers to behaviors and attitudes based on the assumption that our adults better than young people. Now, we're not saying that young people do not have expectations, things that they have to follow, rules. We as adults have rules. What we're saying under youth empowerment is our priority are the students. The consequences for adultism is undermining self-confidence, increasing sense of worthlessness, growing negative self-concept. And so our youth empowerment program is designed to focus on youth being our major priority, as I've stated before. So these are the programs that are under youth empowerment. We have a partnership with the State's Attorney's Office, and we have a teen court in the Must-I program, youth employment, youth entrepreneurship, the RC program or the Race Car program, which I think we have someone to present about that, mentoring program, a tutoring program, an African American Male Initiative, Girls Group. Most recently, we have a partnership with Hippocrates, which we're working to develop further. The purpose of our partnership with Hippocrates is to bridge the gap between the school community and our Spanish-speaking community. We also have a mini bike program, and many of you know the problems with mini bikes. What our goal is under youth empowerment is to identify a problem with our youth and provide a positive solution. Streets to Work, and then we have our college visits, and we have our annual HBCU trip, which is coming up next, during spring break. It's away from me. There's no sound. It's not working. Okay, so now I would like our, as the video is playing, if our youth empowerment employees can come forward.
On the right track for graduation rate, but also beyond the diploma. I'm real excited that Burton Day Schools got in on this because we have a consistent message to the children and we're teaching them consistent things that are going to be helpful for their life. So this is like just kind of like the icing on the cake. One aspect of the program is the RC portion, which is for remote control cars. On the right track and all of the principles directly to racing the cars. So life is like a race. They're getting their cars together. Yeah. Someone is going to come in with all of the heats. They're going to start off with 4 heats. And they'll advance through the heats until there's a final race. Good job, baby. Good job, guys. Go! Are you on the right track? Are you in control? Control is better than speed. So you can just let people take off and lose control and you just cruise right past. So it'd be better to just have control and not try to do it fast. Are you wasting your power? Are you doing the right thing to repair yourself? And they look at this in the real world with using a car. And what happens when you're not in control of your car? You wreck. Not in control of your life, what happens to your life? And what does a wreck look like? So those are the types of principles that they get, they hear every day. And we're seeing it make a big difference in their life.
So I would like our youth empowerment employees to come up and talk a little bit about their programs. And then we will end with youth employment, our new program with Hippocrates. We'll talk a little bit about that, but I'll just let them come up one at a time, and it's somewhat of an order.
Good evening, board, Dr. Walters, community. I am just going to highlight a quick story, and then the RC program, On the Right Track program director, Mr. Yashman Moore, is going to tell you what we're doing with the non-RC portion. So today I was able to get some information on one of the students who went into the program over the summer. And last year, the student was failing miserably. Every single one of his grades are up. Last year, he had 54 unexcused absences. At this point of the school year, he has 1 unexcused absence. So Mr. Moore is going to tell you about the expansion of the program.
Hi, my name is Yashman Moore, and I just want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to do this. And with the non-RC part, what Mr. Clark has said, we started it this year with the 6th graders at King and Kennedy, and then the progress and progression has been shown, and all the kids love it. And I just feel like it's something that needs to stay. Like all the kids are staying on the right track, and they understand the process in which we want them to go through. And I feel like if we expand this, it's going to really work. It's going to have all the kids ready before they even get to high school.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Dr. Walters, members of the board, community, parents, teachers, staff. Man, it's a crowd here tonight. So just thank you all for coming out to support students. Thank you so much for coming. I know you probably don't want to be here, but so my name is Ayanna Smith. I do work with Mr. Clark with the race car program, which is on the right track. Here at the high school, we do have freshmen through seniors as well. That's part of the RC program. Our high school students mentor our 4 through 6 students. So at King, Kennedy, LCC, did I miss one? I think that's it. So the purpose of our high school students, which a few are here tonight with us, they have been in the program for almost 2 years now. So after our training, the teachers and I, we had a PBL training, which is a project-based learning training during one of our LAA days. And I think a couple of my staff, well, not mine, but anyway, some of the staff is here that we worked in a group and we used defined learning, a defined learning project. So one of the projects that the trainer had us to do was to build a dome. We had to build a dome just out of masking tape and printing paper. So we're like, okay, how are we gonna build a dome out of this? So this is the end result of our teacher project from the defined learning. This is our dome. It could be bigger than this, but this is what we chose. This is what we came out with. So this is all for my visual learners. So we have to keep in mind that we have different types of learners, even at the adult level. So you have your kinesthetic learners, your auditory learners, and your vision learners. So you want to make sure that you are reaching all types of learners. So I brought the models here just to provide that visual, because within the RC program, I'm trying to talk fast. So within the RC program, we're going to incorporate the PBLs with our high school students. So when our high school students are going to mentor our students 4 through 6, they can bring a different idea, mindset to our students outside of having that actual card that you've seen in the video. So I challenged the kids, myself and Mr. Clark, we wanted to challenge the kids to say, here, let's see what you can build. I displayed the model that the teachers and I did, and I said, well, hey, this is what we did in our training. So let's see what you can come up with, but we want to focus on one of our principles of the RC program, which was what, students, my high school students? Can we say it out loud? No, you shy? So one of the principles was teamwork. So based upon that teamwork, and it was also, another principle is repair. So what I came across and tied it to our CBEO model. So with the competency-based model, they can use these projects to go towards an ELA or math competency. So within that competency, board, you do have your packet with a project that Mr. Clark and I, that we're working on with the kids, is making a budget for their trip that Dr. Walters spoke about. So they had to do the planning stages, which is part of the ELA, one of the ELA competencies, which is group work. So, but that's up to, if that get approved, that they can use that, to go towards one of their competencies. But within your packet, this is the pre-planning stages that the high school students, which is 4 of them here, that was actually working on that, along with 15 other students that includes freshmen as well. So they came up with all of this on their own with the guidance of myself and Mr. Clark. So they can use the finance project for math, towards a math competency, if, that gets approved. But just providing some different tasks that the students can use to master a skill. Okay. That the students can use to master a skill. So again, just wanted to bring that new piece to the RC program to incorporate PBLs so that the students can feel, why am I here? To answer that question of why. That's it.
Dr. Walters, board, and everyone here. My name is Rebecca Parks. I'm Community Partnership Coordinator. And so I'm proud to say that currently we have 67 community partners within Kankakee County that are working with us to provide services, resources, and donations for youth empowerment, but also within the school district, within youth empowerment. We have mentors within AAMI, locations for events to take place, and donations for things such as the RC program for celebrations as well. Thank you.
So really quickly, there was an incident before the pandemic that involved a group of girls in our Hillcrest area close to the junior high, and we started a girls group. The pandemic slowed it down, but under youth empowerment, we started the girls group again, and Grace Gordon-Smith, is in charge of our girls group. She doesn't want to say anything. I'm not going to make her this time. So just wait a minute. We also have the African American Male Initiative. Are you going to? No? Just waiting? Okay. We also have our college tours. I'm not in charge of the college tours. I know they've been to Eastern, they've been to Illinois State, but one of our major college tours we'll talk about in one of the next slides. So I just want to say really quickly, and I'm going to go really quickly. This PowerPoint was created a long time ago, and so there's no hidden information in this PowerPoint. One of the purposes of schooling was to prepare students for society. Schooling was developed in the first industrial age. We are now in the fourth industrial age. And so schooling needs to look a little different in the fourth industrial age in order to prepare students for the world today. I talked about that 8 years ago, and it still remains the same. The purpose of youth empowerment is to prepare students for not the first industrial age, for the fourth industrial age. We're looking at innovation, and we're looking at support for our students. So youth employment, I guess Kate's handyman, Mr. Prue is going to probably wave also. Kate's handyman services was prepared out of a discussion with the trades and the mayor of Kankakee in lieu of a trades program while we tried to figure out how to develop a trades program. Just recently, thank you to the city of Kankakee for donating $300,000 so that we can actually start the trade program while we were waiting to figure out how to develop that program in the last year or so. With our trade program, we will be gifted a house from the city of Kankakee. We will develop a group of people that will support our students in renovating that house. We will sell that house, and then the proceeds from the house will go back into the program. When we talk with the members of the trade union, the goal is to have students participate in the trades in a very kind of like awareness stage in order for them to decide if this is something that they're interested in before they go into an apprenticeship. We also will explain to our students the grades that are required in trades, which is in algebra, at least a B or higher, I think, or a C or higher. And so that is one of the things that we have with the youth employment is K's handyman services. Originally, with our youth employment program, we had allocated $130,000. We did not anticipate it growing the way that it has grown. At this state, we've spent $450,000 on youth employment. Now, I will say that some of our youth, we have to work with them in terms of interventions and supports, and sometimes they have to get a letter of direction. But I think that they have learned a lot through the employment process. They've learned about taxes. I know one student actually wanted to know why the government needed his money in the first place. And so our students have learned a lot through our youth employment. Our initial allocation was $700,000. We then received a second allocation of $500,000. Most recently, we received an allocation of $1.3 million. But again, and I'm excited, along with the $300,000 from the city of Kankakee. So again, what we're doing is revising the budget with the approval of the Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority to put additional funding into youth employment. And we're anticipating that there will be a large allocation needed for the summer. Parent empowerment.
Thank you, Dr. Walter, and the Educational Board. I'm excited about the power, the Parent Empowerment Group, but not only the Parent Empowerment Group, we are a resource for the parents. The children got to go back home, and if we don't do anything with the parents, we're in trouble. The other part of my position is dealing with the community engagement specialist, is to connect the community with the school. I want to recognize the pastors that came tonight. Could the pastors please stand up? That came tonight, the pastors. And so we want to get the pastors involved, the community involved. Why? Because the spirituality of our community depends on our spiritual leaders. And so that's one area. But I just want to briefly just give you some information of some of the testimonies of the Parent Empowerment Group. I'm connected with the Economic Alliance Group. I've been working with them for the last several months with two major employment agencies. We're able to get our parents jobs from the amount of $13 to $25 an hour. And basically, they got to go through our orientation, and it's not an easy orientation to go through. First, they got to prove by attending meetings regularly on time, and to help them to go through the process of being employed. Because again, the children, the model are the parents. And the parents is dysfunctional, the children are going to be dysfunctional. So we got to do more by giving them the proper resources they need. The Birth to 5 initiative of the state of Illinois, I have two parents on that board. They are helping decide issues that deal with daycare throughout the state, throughout the county of Kankakee. And they are also going to help bring in millions of dollars when it comes down to after the assessment is done. One thing I require when they use our people to do things on council boards is they hire the same people from the community. And so that's just one of the requirements. I'm going to stop right there, but basically the Parent Empowerment Group is to empower the parent so they can empower their children.
I have another person that would like to weigh, and I want to be clear that this was a discussion at the last board meeting. And so there was a question about youth empowerment at the last board meeting, so we brought this forward in order to explain the youth empowerment program. So our last person that we would like to introduce is Lorania Lara. Are you gonna wait? She doesn't want to talk either. Which is our most recent addition to the Youth Empowerment Program in order to develop a connection through Hippocrates Clinic with our Spanish-speaking families. And she's done an amazing job of helping us to contact families, specifically families that we need to work on work completion with their students, and their families don't speak Spanish. We can often use our students to help translate, but can any of you imagine if your students were translating that they got in trouble to you? They probably would not necessarily do that. And so some do and some don't, and in order to ensure that there's a smooth communication between the families and the school, Lorena has been helping us tremendously. And the last item that we use with that budget is our annual HBCU College Tour. Last year, we did our first college tour, and this year we will be going to Georgia State, Morris Brown College, Clark Atlanta, and Morehouse, and we're looking into Spelman. So thank you. Are there any questions about youth empowerment?
Does the board have any questions about youth empowerment?
I don't have a question, but I wanted to say that I think the program is phenomenal, and I think everybody's doing a great job. So, and I just want to say one more time, that we do have a budget process that we will send you all of the requirements for the budget and all of the data that we have to send into the Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority. But I just wanted to make sure that you knew this was from the previous board meeting, and this is an explanation of youth empowerment, and we're privileged to continue to receive funding from the Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority.
Ms. Archie, did you have something? No?
No, I'm part of the property.
Okay, well, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the explanation. And I also want to congratulate the Youth Empowerment Program on its execution, because you do not get rewarded with an increase in your grant for poor execution. So, good job. Mr. Williams?
Yeah, I also wanted to say congratulations to the Youth Empowerment Program. You can see the change in a lot of the students there in the program, the change in their behavior, the change in their grades. Some of the kids walk a very thin line because they don't want to get in trouble, because they don't want to get put out of the program. And that's a testament to the people that's running it, that they have the respect of the children, and I think they're doing a great job.
And I just want to just kind of repeat that the program was developed based on problems that we had in the community related to our youth, without using the funding sources that are already allocated to the school district.
All right, thank you, Dr. Walters. We are on to item E, Principal's Report, Dr. Renita Sims.
Good evening, Dr. Walters, Board of Education, community members. I am Dr. Sims. I am the building principal. I would like to take this time and ask all of our Kankakee staff, no matter what capacity you serve in, to please stand. Can we give them a round of applause? Thank you all so much for being here. Tonight I bring to you our KHS board presentation. So I introduced myself as Dr. Sims. A couple of our team members were not here to be able to make it. However, Mr. Works is here. Okay. Mr. Chorak, who's our sophomore class. Ms. Arsenal Anderson, who's absent. Also, Dr. Karen Burns, who's absent. Tammy Williams, who's our innovation team administrator. Where's Tammy? Okay, hi, Tammy. Tara McCaskill, who's also our learning partner. Wait, Tara. And then we have Ms. Gabrielle Garrett, who's our secondary team learning partner. So here are some of our glows. From August to November, our on-track data has definitely increased. So our sophomores were currently at 59%, they're now at 78%. Juniors, 26%, increased to 53%. And our seniors, 31% to 48%. Every Wednesday, we have what's called triangle team meetings. And so in our triangle team meetings, we typically focus on student contract, monthly town hall meetings with each grade level, outreach to families, increasing student participation with tier support. Of course, we have Twilight Saturday School, and then most of all, but not least, as of right now, I would like to say congratulations to the class of 2023, whose current scholarship is right now over $1 million, and we're only in February. We are definitely on track to surpass our goal from last year. Of course, with our grows, there come a few grows. So believe it or not, our current enrollment is 1,675 students. We have definitely increased. Our daily overall average attendance is 74.8%. And when we talk about the increase of the attendance, that's definitely contributed to what happens in our triangle team meetings. So just a little background, during the triangle team meetings, of course, includes an administrator, the class administrator, myself, the social emotional learning coach, the counselor, and the grade level secretary. So we kind of go through student data and talk about supports that can be given. And what's new this year that's coming to full fruition is definitely working on our freshman success team. So we have a partnership that we work with Network for College Success to make sure that we're providing that additional support to all our incoming freshmen. CBE, I'm going to turn it over to Gabrielle.
Dr. Walters, board members, Dr. Sims asked me to give just a little bit of background information on competency-based education. This is going into now our 6th year of being a pilot school in Illinois, and we have a short documentary we would like to show you.
Hi, my name is Parker Easley.
My name is Brianna.
We're features.
Chloe Granny. Amara Chavez.
Kyle McElroy. Nazir Hill.
Lori Gino. Diana McManus. My name is Janelle Walters. I'm the superintendent of Kankakee School District 111. So this is one of the most fundamental ideas in competency-based education. The standard way, we stuck to the standards, the Illinois state standards, I think for all of the classes, and now that we teach CBE, we stick to the competencies. So we have a list of competencies, basically skills that we want students to have before they graduate from high school. The competency-based model is saying we believe that all kids can learn, and we're going to design to help every kid learn. And it doesn't take away from, so, you know, maybe you might feel like, oh, if I'm sorted and I'm at the top, I don't want to lose being at the top. But it doesn't mean that you can't also achieve and do great things if you're at the top. It just means that we want everybody to learn the basics, the basic skills and ability to apply them so that they can live a meaningful life, that they can pursue meaningful work, future education, be a good citizen, and that they have those basic skills and the ability to learn, right? Because the world is ever changing and there's always going to be new things to learn. Another difference would be that all of us are required to allow students to make corrections on assessments or give it another chance to show that they can do that.
How do I personally feel about CBE? CBE has affected my learning by changing basically my entire experience.
I'd say overall it's been a positive experience. I've been using it like as a tool mostly. It helped me a lot being like a student admin. It helped me like bring my grade point average up, like my previous grades and everything like that.
I feel like I have paid more attention to what I'm actually being graded on rather than just the grade that I'm getting on tests and what really goes into that grade.
I think CBE is a great concept for students, and it literally gives students the opportunity to master a skill.
CBE helped me focus on being an athlete because I can do a sport and go back to the classroom and do my old work if I need caught up and help on something. So it helped me, like, it played a big role in my academics and athletics.
CBE has affected my grade by allowing me to retake tests when needed and giving me more time to work on my assignments.
Also, overall, CBE has helped me kind of like work ahead and understand, you know, what in the future I'm going to be working on rather than just like what in the now I'm working on.
Having CBE was more like a standardized mindset where I had to get the highest grade there was. You know, always trying to push it forward to get the level 12 during my senior year, and then junior was 11. always trying to get that A, trying to do as much as possible to get the highest score and do great.
I'd say it's also definitely benefited me in earning honors credits in situations where I normally wouldn't. So for example, last year I took English 2 as a sophomore, and it was like the regular base English class, but I was able to score a high enough score on the CBE system to get honors credit for the class, and that definitely helped.
In the beginning of COVID, my grades, they weren't as good. We were all panicking because of the pandemic and how everything went, so I wasn't motivated to do any of my Zooms during choir or anything. I wasn't motivated to learn my materials. So with us coming back from COVID, I had plenty of opportunities given to me by teachers to learn new and harder material so I can up my grades from COVID.
It created better opportunities for myself and everything like that. Like during the pandemic, I didn't have that, and they run CBE, so they helped me like a lot, bring up everything. I went back and did the whole previous work and everything.
One of my experiences where I learned material that was opera-like and also Latin. And with that, it was a difficulty range. I won an award off of it. I got best of day off of it. And it helped me get the grade that I got so poor. It helped me get it up because of my difficulty level and also the fact of it being in a different language.
Being able to make an assignment later on, because sometimes I'll do an assignment or get a bad grade on it, but there's always assignments later on through the school year where we're able to make up that competency, even get a higher score, and that really helped me because I was not doing so good at the beginning and toward the year.
We just wanted to outline a few of the successes that the high school has seen since implementing CBE. It has increased the number of students who are on their career and educational pathway prior to graduating from high school. For the upcoming school year, we have 135 students who have applied to go to Kankakee Area Career Center, which by the way is a dual credited program. We have 67 students who have applied for the early college program at KCC. We have 30 students here at the high school in English, 17 in math, and 130 in articulated math. They're looking at dual crediting opportunities for next school year. We have students who are currently working and receive credit for work experience and internships. And we have students involved in the culinary, CNA, athletic trainer, and next year the CEO program. We also have our Student Success Center, which provides students with opportunities to make up competencies, get work, and other things we'll talk a little bit more about in the presentation. It has increased the rigor of students' educational experiences, focusing on the mastery of the competencies with content. Students' educational individual levels are being looked at, along with their learning styles, and having the remote blended options for our students, as well as we are one of the only original CBE pilot adopters that have moved in full implementation in the state. And what I mean by that is when we've met in cohort meetings over the last 6 months, COVID caused many districts to have their timeline offset from their original plan for implementation, and we're one of the few districts who has continued to move forward on their original timeline, while other districts are now re-implementing their timelines. Currently, we have 1,942 credits that have been earned through non-traditional timelines, as you can see from the graphic there that Mr. Johnson put together for us. We have students who have utilized Twilight, Saturday School, the Credit Tracker, CD Opportunities, and the APEX. We also have 199 credits that have been earned through early advancement and competency requirement. 100% of these students who earn these credits are currently enrolled in advanced content. Early completion allows for more students to be enrolled in the KCC early college program starting as early as their junior year. KCC provided us with this early college data. Kankakee High School right now has more students that attend KCC in the early college program than any of the other participating high schools. The next closest school has just less than 15 students this semester. This year we have 47 students who have attended KCC. You can see the growth over the years as we've been in CBE longer. We've had more and more students who've gone into the early college program. This fall semester, those 47 students attempted 595 credit hours, earning 561 credit hours with a 94% completion rate. 4 of them had a perfect 4.0 GPA. So some of the challenges that the district is still facing is stakeholders understanding the difference between competency-based education and the grading system, which has been SLATE. Disruption of COVID during CBE implementation has caused not just ourselves, as I mentioned before, but other districts across the state tremendous impact on their implementation plans. Changes of implementation teams due to staffing changes within the district, and then stakeholders' philosophical differences and comfort with a known educational system compared to moving to competency-based education. To address those challenges, this year the district made the decision to move from Skyward-only base grading system. So starting next year, 4th through 12th grades will be using the Skyward standards-based grade book to grade CBE, and then have the staff in those buildings have been working on that alignment throughout the school year. There's been increased intensive supports for our current juniors and seniors, primarily due to the disruption of COVID. There's been increased number of training of not just staff at the high school, but staff and administration in multiple buildings and grade levels, so that there's a better understanding of competency-based education starting at a younger age, and that it's not such a shock to students and their families when they get to the high school. They better understand the system and the alignment. And then there's engagement workshops that are planned for students and families on the new gradebook system, as well as the difference between grading and philosophy. They'll be starting in May. Our next steps as a district are to build a district continuum where there are vertical and horizontal alignment in curriculum, including math, ELA, and science, gradebook alignment, as well as having common language assessment and grading practices. That is to make sure that there is an equitable focus on students. It shouldn't matter what teacher you have for 5th grade, that you're getting the same access to that curricular opportunity. And we have a 3-year plan to roll these changes and updates. This year, we renewed the CBE application, which we're still waiting on ISB to give us information about, as there was, as you probably recently know, a change at the state level with the retirement of the state superintendent, and so we should be hopefully hearing something from ISB later in the spring. We've been working on gradebook alignment. The high school currently has 6 teachers that are piloting the Skyward gradebook, so that that information can be used in training and determining next steps with staff. And then in the next 2 years, we'll continue curriculum work as well as expanding the career and education pathway alignment. And I'll turn it back over to Dr. Sims.
Thank you, Gabriel. As the presentation talked about earlier with our CBE, we wanted to highlight our Student Success Center and talk about some of the attributes that happen in there. And so I'm not going to read all of this, but just kind of highlight that our Student Success Center is not only our library, but some other good things take place in there, in which we have what's called a writing lab. And in our writing lab, students are able to go there to get support with writing services. This summer, we had some tutors who were there working with our students on improving their writing. As of right now, our Student Success Center has serviced over 1,043 students. And what I wanted to show you was that when students check into the SCC, they have to actually sign in the Google form with their information. And so as we scroll down here, looking at all of our students, and I know I'm going very fast. Right now, the last entry that we had was February 10th with 1,036 students. All right, so what's happening in the SCC? Of course, as I talked about, our peer writing tutoring program. Also, students are able to go there for work completion. Ms. Bell, who oversees our Student Success Center, does a very exceptional job when students actually have to come in and get support, not only in ELA, but social studies as well. We also have the college and career planning services there. Naviance, students are able to check out books. The writing lab services, printing services, and of course, POP analysis. And then the books color-coded by academies. So each academy now has a set of books in which they are able to check out books as well. Looking ahead, this is some things that we want to improve on. So of course, we want to increase our collection, both digital, graphic novels, and fiction. We definitely want to begin to increase our circulation and usage, increase the awareness of students on print and digital resources to support student goals, increase the participation. So even though we're servicing over 1,000 students, we would like to service more. And then last but not least, we want to continue to recruit for interventionist position at the high school to support the SSC.
In the library.
The library.
Also.
2 positions, thank you. All right, so this is just, I wanted you all to be able to hear from the students and not necessarily hear it from us, to talk about how the SCC has helped them.
Hi, my name is Trinity. I'm a freshman here at Kankakee High School, and I use the Student Success Center to get work done, get my grades up, and work on essays and anything else that I have to finish.
Hi, I am Naomi Bayasborn. I am in 10th grade, and I use the Student Success Center for work and helping with my essays. And when I'm stuck on some English work that I don't know how to do, I would ask Ms. Bell, and she would help me because she's an English teacher, and I appreciate her for that.
Well, my name is Sebastian. I'm a senior this year, and I mainly use the Student Center to kind of escape the cafeteria whenever it gets too crowded and work on some schoolwork. I've also used it to help me plan my college essays and write them out and send them to colleges. And sometimes I just use it as like just a quiet space to study. Overall, I'd say if you're interested in coming to the Student Center to like work on college stuff, it's very good, thing to do. Ms. Bell is a really good writer. She helped me a lot with my college essay, and yeah, that's about it.
And so in transparency, of course, we do have some challenges that we still need to work through. And so one of our challenges is definitely that there was an audit performed, and in our audit, we found that there's a pattern of students who have IEPs, 504s, and some of our ELL students. They were not receiving their accommodations. Also, a big proponent of the high school challenge is student work completion, both traditional and remote, so that's no secret. Also, the traditional student in-person attendance has been a challenge for us. Meaningful and timely feedback to go to the students from the teachers, communicating with families, students out of location, teacher attendance. Also with our TNT protocols with grade level instruction assessments, using that TNT protocol. But on top of that, because we know that there's a shortage of teachers and a shortage of subs, you will find many of us administrators sub in class. So to effectively use the TNT protocol has been a challenge for us. Are there any questions?
This board? Okay, excuse me, ma'am. We do have public comments. If you would like to sign up for public comments, you're welcome to. Okay, well, can you stop what you're doing and come down and sign up for public comments, and we will give you your 5 minutes. Thank you. All right. Now, are there any questions from the Board of Education? No? All right, no questions, no comments? Okay, I want to say that personally, I have seen CBE improve the life of my nephew, who is a senior. Last year, he was behind on credits. He was able to complete portfolios over the summer and really close that gap. And now he is on track for graduation, and I'm really happy for him. I think that CBE actually matches more with how children learn, and moving us away from the traditional method of classroom instruction and lecturing, which then, what was his name? I can't remember his name right now. It was a guy out of New York that gave a lecture to the Superintendent's Commission a few years back, and he called the traditional method of education the cemetery method. You put them in straight rows and you keep them quiet. And that was considered to be education. And as Dr. Walters reminded the board this afternoon, education was invented during the first industrial revolution. We are now in the fourth industrial revolution, and we cannot continue to implement education the same way that our forebears did, because the world that our children are entering is completely different, and technology is different, and trying to make them do what we did and thinking that that is going to make them successful in the future is not the kind of forward thinking that has moved this country forward in the past. So if no one else has any comments, go ahead.
This is what I wanted to say, is that I often say this about our community, is that people stay in Kankakee County for the very reasons why people leave Kankakee County, because things don't change much. And so CBE is a change. With change, it's not going to always be perfect. It's not going to always be the best for everybody. But the thing about it, we want to do what's best for the majority. And so I often reference myself, not that I'm proud or not proud of this, but it's just the truth, is that I graduated from this very district with several D's on my report card. Mainly because there was no CBE. And if there was something that I couldn't do, no one tried to help me master it. And oftentimes I was treated as a student who couldn't learn, who didn't understand, because the one method, and I want to exaggerate, the one method that they taught me, I didn't get. And so since I couldn't get the one method that they taught me, then I was deemed as unteachable, which is the opposite of who I am. I really believe that as adults, we have to not impose our feelings and our values on our kids, or to try to live vicariously through our students, because they aren't us. They weren't raised in our time. We didn't have, I think we had 3 computers in school when I was in school. There was just a total different time, and they're exposed to different things. And so we have to try to match that and help our kids learn the best way that we know how. But if we continue to impose our method of learning on our kids, then we're going to continue to see kids failing. And so whereas we still have students that need support and need our help, we're going to do our best to try to fine-tune this program. But I am a huge advocate for CBE, because I feel like oftentimes I want to come back to high school, because I think I could master high school and I could have got way better grades if I had teachers trying to help me master or teach me a different way. And so, as they've stated, school was invented in a time where that was the way. And so if you didn't do it that way, you didn't get it, oh well. And so now CBE says, if you don't get it, you can try again. And if you don't get it that time, you can try again until you get it. And so I am a example of trying it again and getting it. I also want to say this, is that oftentimes people deem students who receive D's as unteachable or uneducated people. And I am the opposite of that as well. They also say things like, oh, if you get a D in school, you won't be able to be anybody important, or you won't be able to get a good job. And I'm not saying this to boast who I am, but I'm saying this because of fact. I graduated Kankakee High School with several Ds. I make 6 figures. And I'm not saying that to be proud. I'm saying that to let you all know that when you say things like that, it's a gut punch for people. And some students, it's not that they can't learn, it's because they haven't mastered it. And so until we change our mindset, and until as adults we stop, whenever something happens negative, we want to highlight the negative. And oftentimes, negative things bring out major results. And so sometimes we have to figure out what's negative and fine tune it and fix it, but we shouldn't bash the whole thing because we have some negatives in it. And so if it's helping our students, then that's what we should be highlighting, the things that's helping our student, and try to expound on those things as opposed to getting on Facebook, gossiping around our students and saying this is not working and this is stupid, because they hear that. And I say this all the time, the very thing we tell our students not to do, we do. We get on Facebook, we bash other adults, we bash our educators, we bash our administration, we bash everybody, and then expect our kids to come to school and learn in an environment where we at home, we're saying it's not working. And so I implore you all to, just for a minute, to think about change and think about where we want our students to go and think about where we want our community to go. Like I said, I've been here for 49 years now, 49. I've never left. And I know for a fact, because I've been here for so long, that people in this community are very resistant to change. And that's why oftentimes we are lagging and we're behind in a lot of areas. And so it would really pain me to see that our students in Kankakee stay behind when you go to other districts and we see them moving forward with CBE. Sometimes because we're in this small community, we think that this is our problem, but a lot of communities are using CBE and they're advancing their students. It's working and they're advancing their students. But one of the things I found out about some of the districts is that their parents and administrators and teachers aren't bashing the program. They're trying to fix it and fine tune it so the students can help, so students can learn from that. So I want to begin by saying that I am all for CBE. Do I think there's some things we can fix? Absolutely. There's no perfect plan. But I really would like to see our community embrace this and help our students so that it can help them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. Does anyone else like to say anything? No? All right. Thank you, Dr. Sanders and staff. Okay, we are on to item F, public comments. If you have signed up for public comments, we have several people that have signed up. If you would please move to the right side of the auditorium, and I will read the public comment guidelines while you come forward. The president will recognize members of the audience who wish to make comments to the board regarding any topics related to school district business. The board will take all comments under advisement without discussion, which means the board will not respond tonight. If a member of the public raises an issue or concern that requires follow-up, the board president or superintendent will do so in a timely manner. Please give your name and direct your comments to the president. Comments are limited to 5 minutes. All individuals are to conduct themselves with respect and civility toward others. The first person is, is this James Hill, I'm sorry. That L is connected.
Good evening, everyone. I'm almost sleepy now. But I honestly believe, me as a person, I got a student up here. My son go to this school, and I'll be in the halls. I'm quite sure I'll be in the hallway trying to help out with the kids more than any other parent in the district. I'll be here often helping kids. I engage with a lot of kids on all levels. A lot of kids dealing with mental issues, mental health. They don't get help at home. They get neglected at home. So as a community, and united, we say united we stand, but that's not the case. You know, in certain areas and bunches, we so divided, it's sad. People got to move with compassion in their heart, and just being 100% honest from engaging with people. It's a lot of good people, no matter your race, religion, creed, ideology, or what. We respect people and we judge people based on our interaction with them and nothing else. It seems like, from my point of view, it's been a lot of personal attacks. I won't specify from who, but it's been a lot of personal attacks on people's families, kids, friends, relatives, all over social media. I can look everybody in the eye and say I don't have an ounce of bias in me about judging people. I deal with them who they are. We like 70% overall divided from a racial standpoint. You know, we stood up when we was pledging allegiance and said, united we stand, but it's a sad case in America. When divided, we gonna fall. Every process won't always be the best process. When a car catches a flat, it stops rolling. It slows down, it gets bumpy. And everybody don't get a chance to explain themselves or push their ideology. But if a car is on the flat, it's gonna be bumpy. But we don't want no self-inflicted wounds causing a car to get on flat. Let's be honest. It's a lot going on behind the scenes that's not right. No matter if you don't like a person because what they stand for, the issues they pushing, and this goes, I'm not talking to one party, I'm talking to everybody here, including myself. If we don't like something somebody doing or disagree, everything won't be right. It's a lot of things from our households, starting with me, and to society, to the way we engage with people that's not right. But before we throw something in the garbage, we got to be 100% committed with passion from the heart. No matter if you're looking at me while you're talking or you're looking at the ceiling, it don't make a difference. I can look you in your eye and stand man to man and let you know if you're wrong about something. When you block your ears off and your mind wanders somewhere else while people up here talking, trying to get a point across, you saw what you're standing for. I don't care if you're a white kid, Asian kid, Hispanic kid, black kid. I have no problem with feeding you if I see you at one of these games or giving you some helpful feedback. Everybody got to be committed to the process. You know, I don't know if everybody's going to disagree with me, agree with me, but I don't care if y'all leave out of this room and talk about me or whatever the case may be. But there's too much racial division going on. Everybody attacking on social media, and there's a lot going on polluting the kids' minds before they get started, and they're the innocent ones in life. Everybody love the kids. I mean, if everybody love the kids and they working for the kids, it's going to show in your eyes, it's going to show in your heart, it's going to show in your actions. If I disagree with anybody, or if I'm wrong, I have no problem with apologizing. But I have no problem with knocking on your door and asking, can we have a conversation and have a down-to-earth conversation? You know what I'm saying? And it's a sad day in America, man. It don't make no sense. We got a chance to be great. We understand during the COVID, there was a lot going on. We implement new plans with the school. We're not going to say everything was right. We're not going to say everybody was right. But before we throw it away, everybody buy in and be 100% committed. And if it's an issue, ain't nothing wrong with talking about going to the drawing board. You know what I'm saying? And getting better as a group. But we got to be united. We can't be divided. And I sit back and I see on social media, it don't make no sense the way the hate is spewed. When you see a Hispanic, Asian, black and white kid sitting there laughing together, they're on the playground, they sit down at lunch, I come through the lunch, you got all the kids integrated. But then here come the dogs. Here come the dogs. Sad day in America, man. We need to get it together. And no matter who you is, where you from, we shouldn't be going behind the scenes concocting plans to derail the process. I might not agree with it, but if I'm asked to take my shoes off at somebody else's house, that's the rules of engagement that they want in their house. So I got to go with that flow and get out. We got teachers subbing in and subbing out, and we know it's a hard process. I don't got the solution. Only thing I do for the most part, I give the kids helpful feedback. I give them helpful feedback on how to conduct themselves and strive. You know, and I don't care who kid it is and what kid you is. All I see is some innocent kids, don't know nothing about the world. They just want a chance to be great and be supported. And before I get out of here, if we don't understand what's going on in the kid's house, no matter where they come from, what walks of life, we're not qualified to say what direction they should go in, because I know personally, it be kids, I be helping kids get neglected at home. Parents don't care, so when they come to school, they're dealing with mental health issues. So when they're trying to focus on issues at home that people can't even fathom, it's hard to learn. So as a collective unit, I think we all can remember one or two teachers in our life that was a great asset. And all we gotta do is do our best to be our best. All right, y'all, take care, enjoy y'all night.
Robert Snipes.
To the Board of Education, the distinguished members of the Board of Education, the Superintendent, first of all, let me say to the board of a principle that I kind of have watched. We didn't start off right, but I learned to respect in the long run. Now, she probably won't be on radio a lot more, but I try to digress. But to Dr. Sims, I want to let her know she's doing a wonderful job. You know, I don't say that lightly because I don't give accolades if I don't see them work. But this lady is all over the building, substituting, doing everything. So that I want to give. To the Board of Education, I also heard that you are going to meet with the union. I will convey that to Vicki. I know you're picking out 3 days in March. Trust that you stated that we keep those particular dates because whatever date we come upon, the field rep has to come up and she has to travel. So we want to be considerate as far as that's concerned. Then I want to end it. I promise you I will be like Elizabeth Taylor to her ninth husband and to Rihanna with her fourth boyfriend. I won't keep you long. Yeah. Okay, get some light up there. Miss Luann Johnson, the author of the book Teaching Outside the Box that inspired the movie Dangerous Minds, said, when a student believes that success is possible, they will try. So my first priority in any class is to help my students believe in themselves and their ability to learn. Thinking outside the box. Thinking outside your comfort zones. This applies to both the administration, the teachers, the educational support staff you teach, so that students win. As administrators, you provide the necessary support to help teachers, to help students to win. In essence, you have to be in it to win it. With that being said, there is an important element, a critical element, a fundamental element that needs to be addressed. It's called parental responsibility. After 28 years of working in this district, you can't make me believe that a parent's first knowledge that their child or children is or are not performing to academic standards or chronic absenteeism from school is at the parent conference meeting, approximately 9 weeks later. I'm not an advocate of the blame game or proponent of the pointing finger syndrome, but when each of you leave this auditorium tonight, yes, after the sound system is broken down and put away, and after you've made your points on both sides, after the political posturing and the 15 seconds of fame in the media tonight, what will be the result? What step-by-step plan, what approaches, what methods, and what time-tested strategies will we as a community be able to take away tonight of non-futile hope that every student on tomorrow and tomorrows thereafter will be academically prepared to walk into their future and take the reins of their life to be self-sufficient and productive citizens in the 21st century
of which 1/4 is almost gone. Cell phones and Chromebooks don't teach students, teachers do. Our students see enough hell on TV. They hear enough expletives and degradation on social media. And the last thing they need to have on their academic menu is for more functional dysfunctions and chaos. Educational equity empowers every student to reach their potential and pursue their purpose in life. Our students are not children of chance, but are born to be champions. Thus, education is not an evolutionary process, but rather an educational process. Education is learning the rules of the game of life. Education equips a person with skills, a trained intellect, and knowledge of facts without being too ascetic. Booker T. Washington said, "A lie doesn't become truth, wrong doesn't become right, and evil doesn't become good just because it's accepted by the majority." These are our students. They deserve better. And we must do better as armor bearers of their future. If you separate the student from your grade book, what do you see? Who do you see? If you fail to see the best version of your punctilious pedagogical paintbrush, then you have not done your best work.
Karen Grill.
Good evening. My name is Karen Grill. I am a 27-year resident of Kankakee School District. I'm a parent of 2 Kankakee High School students. I'm a veteran teacher of Kankakee High School, and I have taught 23 of my 27 years in education here in Kankakee School District. I am also the co-head union rep for Kankakee High School, and I'm going to read a letter from the Kankakee Federation of Teachers, Local 604, to the members of the Kankakee School Board. District 111 board members, during the week of February 6, 2023, our members at KHS were made aware of the following grading policy for the class of 2023. And what follows is a verbatim reading of the document that Dr. Walters emailed to the high school staff. If a parent or student asks about their graduation status, here is a script you should follow. In order for your student to graduate, they must do the following. 1, pass all of your core classes with a D or higher. Point 1 in that, English 4 or the equivalent. Number 2, Algebra 2 or your 3rd year of math. Number 3, your 3rd year of science. Number 4, American government. Point number 2, you must have passed with a D or higher financial literacy. Consumer education or economics will also count. Number 3, you must have passed health with a D or higher, or taken strength and conditioning or JROTC and passed with a D or higher. You must have completed your FAFSA and taken the SAT. If you do all of these things by April 21st, your other graduation requirements will be waived. You will receive a D in classes you did not pass outside of these courses. If you do not pass these requirements, you will not graduate and you will have to come to summer school or continue next year as a 5th year student. The reasons for this exception for seniors only this year is because of the impact of COVID during the past 3 years and due to seniors not having accurate transcripts until November of this year. If a parent or student still has concerns, please direct them to Dr. Burns, the senior administrator. So that ends the document that Dr. Walters emailed the staff. To continue the letter, our members understand this policy to mean that the students will be required to earn only 6 of the 22 credits needed for graduation. In the document submitted for board approval, it seems the requirement is reduced to 4 of 22 credits that will be needed to graduate. To further simplify this policy, a student could register for school freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and senior year and never attend 1 day of school or ever submit 1 assignment task until February of his or her senior year. The student will then only be required to participate in his or her education until April, and submit the least amount of work to earn the lowest possible grade to receive a high school diploma. Competency-based education is being used to rationalize this policy. As board members, you were included in the emails Dr. Walters sent to the staff in which she stated there is confusion about CBE. Teachers are not confused about CBE. Teachers are not confused about which students attend and submit work. Teachers are confused as to why district leadership continues to change grading procedures and policies several times within a school year. The most recent policy seems to be nothing more than a plan of desperation to improve the graduation rate. As noted in emails to staff, the reasons for the policies are impacts of COVID and inaccurate transcripts. Neither of these reasons are acceptable for implementing a policy that is negligent in educating our students. We consider this policy to be unethical, and we feel we are expected to be complicit in cheating, as we are currently witnessing our student transcripts being altered with grades they did not earn. On Friday, February 11th, KFT members at the high school met to discuss their concerns about students' grades being changed to improve the KHS graduation rate. During this meeting, our members voted on the following. Number 1, do you approve or not approve of the aforementioned grading policy? If you do not approve, would you like the union to seek further action at your behest from the following, but not limited to, agencies: KSD 111 School Board, Illinois State Board of Education, Office of Civil Rights. 61 members voted. 1 supported the plan, 60 do not support the plan. Number 2, do you believe defined learning should be used in lieu of approved curriculum for students to earn credit for summer school or regular classes? 61 members voted. 1 supported defined learning, 59 did not support the plan, 1 spoiled ballot. Number 3, do you have confidence in central office administration's ability to manage and facilitate the policies and procedures of the KHS grading system? Results: 60 members voted, 0 members have confidence, 60 members do not have confidence. Number 4, do you have confidence in the central office administration ability to manage and facilitate the policies and procedures of the KHS attendance system? 60 members voted, 0 members have confidence, 60 members do not have confidence. KFT membership at KHS is 69. 61 members participated in this collective action, with an overwhelming majority hoping they are no longer required to participate in a system where cheating is happening to improve the graduation rate. 100% of our members that voted for questions 3 and 4 do not have confidence in central office administration's oversight of KHS grading and attendance policies. We are asking members of the board to recognize our vote of no confidence, remove central office administration from making decisions for grading and attendance at KHS. Instead, we ask that KHS administration oversee these responsibilities with input from KHS educators. Our district was awarded millions of dollars to address learning loss from COVID. We want our students to receive the supports they deserve, the education they deserve, and a high school diploma they earned. Our members are always concerned about retaliation and retribution when exercising their right to organize. However, we refuse to be part of this unethical grading policy. In this case, our members report their greatest fear is nothing will be done. They fear our board members will not stand up for our students. Thank you for your consideration regarding this matter. Students first. Kankakee Federation of Teachers. Kankakee High School teachers do not mind using CBE to teach the students in this district, but we want it implemented with authenticity. We want it implemented ethically, and we want it implemented with fidelity. Please, board, say no to changing the grading requirements in action item I-6 tonight.
Bill Briggs.
Dr. Walters, President. Never like this. But let me first say, tonight's been an eye-opener. I'm very impressed with programs that you presented that our students are doing. But it also, with some of the comments that have been made, I didn't think I would have to say this, but now I do. I'm a step-parent and a grandparent of biracial children. And so I come with a different feeling. In our family, we have black blood, we have white blood, we have Asian blood. But when they go to mark their name on any type of an application, they have to go to other. There's nothing for them. They're not black, they're not white, they're not Asian. So it's tough. I'm a little nervous, I apologize. I'm not taught I shouldn't be nervous. As president of AFT Local 604 and a Riverview resident, my reason for attending tonight's meeting is both as a union leader and as a concerned resident. First, the Kankakee School District is fortunate to have two union leaders, Beth Anderson and Robert Snipes, who care about their members, the students, the district, and the community. They are the voices for their membership and often must bring difficult issues before the administration and/or the board. Members use their leaders' voices because of fear recently of retaliation. I've always felt a close relationship to District 111 since 2006 when I became a field service director for Local 604. The relationship always had open communications with the administration, but around October of 2022, that seemed to change in regard to a situation involving our paras. We represent both the teachers and the parents. Imagine if you sent emails to the administration or to the staff and they didn't respond. After a time, the frustration sets in. This scenario is exactly what has been going on for Vicki Goebel, who is our representative for the paras, and Robert. It's to this point that the district is paying one of your attorneys to communicate with Vicki, who must include the attorney on any correspondence with the district administrator. This should be a face-to-face conversation, not through an attorney. I don't know what stories you've heard about Vicki or what's going on, but she is one of the most ethical, best field service directors on the staff of AFT Local 604 and the IFT. She was hired because at one time she was a paraprofessional and knows the pressures they go through. She tried repeatedly to get answers about new positions whose job descriptions paralleled some of the positions already in the unit. They were hired in at a higher salary. The issue, and others that Robert can detail, was frustrating because the district either would not sit down and talk or ignore the emails and phone calls. In addition, after repeated requests for a meeting that could include a board member, we are still in limbo, although Robert corrected that earlier this evening. All that could have been solved with communication like we once had. The professional educators under Beth's leadership have tackled tough issues before the pandemic, during and after. Just last year, we had very successful negotiations as Dr. Walters and Beth worked together to increase salaries to attract and retain the best staff. Next week, we have clerical negotiations to discuss increases in their salaries. Now, though, I worry about the outcome because of what's going on right now. As a resident and a former teacher, I know the value of having a strong school system to attract new families into town. In recent years, I've seen my neighborhood change with young families and families moving in. It's great to see children playing in Cobb Park again and hopefully attending our schools and graduating from KHS. As a resident and former teacher, I worry about the proposed grade changing issue at the high school. Even though it's labeled for seniors only, to use COVID as a reason or to blame staff for not doing their jobs bothers me a lot. What message does this send to our community? Because you know, as educators, we are all concerned with all of our students, no matter their grade level. Am I done?
No.
Okay. No matter the grade level, economic status, skin tone, or orientation. Most students in the junior high and high school struggled through COVID. Does this mean next year another exception will be made, and the year after, and so on? With a diploma that was not earned, but awarded, how will these students function in trade school, college, and jobs? Congratulations to our students currently at KCC. That was an eye-opener. Hopefully you continue to track these other students after graduation to see if they continue to have this type of success. Believe me, this is not how I wanted to end my career in education since my 51st year. I'm sure neither did Dr. Walters, a professional whom I admire, respect, and call my friend. We both retired in the summer of 2024. Now is the time for discussion, not in public, but between the board, administration, and professional educators. Thank you.
Renee, and I'm sorry, I can't read the last name. Renee Davis, I'm sorry.
Good evening. My name is Renee Davis, and I'm a parent of a student at Kankakee High School. My concern is her CBE is not going up. She's been doing her work, turning her work in. I want to know, where does the accountability come from the teachers grading work and getting their grades updated? She has been at the same point in her one class since she has started, Lily saying she hasn't done anything in class. I think that's totally unacceptable. She had to go to summer school this past summer because her class last year didn't have a teacher at the end of the year. She went on medical, they never come back. They didn't have a teacher. So she had to go finish that class over the summer. But now they're saying it took until October, me stand on them, to even get her grade put in the system. And that's totally unacceptable. It takes from June, July, and you don't get a grade in the system until October. Where does the accountability come from for teachers when the grades in for these students? They're doing their work, they're completing their work. She's staying out twilight, getting her stuff in, but she's not coming up any. And these are her core classes that she needs. I don't know about nobody else, but I stay on her about her work. I need her to come up out of here in 25 when she's supposed to come up out of here. Not to stay no longer or anything else. It's got to be something else more done to help these students and get the teachers to do what they're supposed to do. If the students are doing what they're supposed to do and getting their work in, why come the administration's not, the teachers not? So my question is, where is the accountability for these teachers to do their work and get these grades put in and get the system, their classes up to date? That's all I have to say, Stephen. Thank you.
Jayla Carrington. Okay. Antoine Moore.
Hi, I'm Antoine Moore. Hi to the board members and the community. There was a situation I wanted to deal with, but sitting up there and praying on it and trying to come up with what I was gonna say, just sitting up here listening to everyone speak and looking at the divide in the community, the division of where there's one side against education and another side for another part of education, coming up here to stand up for that point probably would do no justice. It would just be more negativity on negativity. So what I will do, instead of correcting people who attack Loren's character, I would rather come up here and celebrate them and congratulate them for being part of the honor society. That's it.
Aisha L. Okay, would you give your name?
Aisha L. I'm a parent. I have two students in this district. I have a daughter who is 15, she's a freshman here, and I have a son who is 10. He is a fourth grader. On multiple occasions, he was assaulted. He was actually dragged in the gym room of, what's the name of it? Kennedy School. Before he got to Kennedy, he was tortured at King Middle School. And then he was transferred to another school where he was also assaulted on multiple occasions. The administration failed to report anything. When they did reports, it was because we came up there as parents, studied complaining about them not doing reports, and the reports that they didn't even make sense. Most of them made no sense at all. It was one report that said he was dragged. My son was never sent to the nurse. When he finally got home and went to the hospital, he suffered contusions to his ribs, but they said he was just dragged. He never seen a nurse while he was at the school. I asked on numerous occasions, why are these things being reported? I'm just basically being told, oh, we wasn't told this. And then when they hear it from the child, who the child told, or they even hear multiple stories of how these adults are telling how the situation happened, it's like, okay, where's your report for even what you said may have happened? There isn't. So my high school daughter, she was sexually assaulted in the same place you guys are asking for funding for free library, where you can go and be left alone, because that's what my daughter's been left alone in this library on multiple occasions. I actually have video recording of this. I offered to show this to the administration. Like, I have video camera tapes of classes that my child had been to in this school that is basically like a party, literally a party, that's not being monitored for high school students. I've had my daughter ride the bus who came here a successful student. Before she came to District 111, she was an honor roll student her whole life, and she had been bullied before this. As of joining this school district, her grades have dropped tremendously. When you ask questions about it, it's, why aren't you holding your child accountable? I am by holding the school accountable, who is supposed to be educating my child. And if she is studying at something, why is there nobody giving any report? Why this child is studying? What's going on? How can we help? So how can you say you're here to support my child if I'm asking how to help my child and you're turning me away as a parent and not being transparent? Up until today, this incident where my daughter was sexually assaulted and their library happened December the 7th. Up until today, I just made a police report because the school failed to make one. I still have no answer why the school have failed to make these reports on their own and are being forced to make these reports. They have no answer, but they're asking for all of this funding that they're for services that they are not actually providing. After the incident happened, you know what was told to me? What they can provide my child with? Excuse me, counseling. After the damage is done, counseling. What about intervention? They want to talk about negative and truth and science. The truth doesn't change. That's right. So what's negative about the situation is the part where you didn't address it as adults who are over children. My daughter's 15 years old. No, I haven't given her permission to be her own person. The reason why is because she doesn't even know the fathomness of being her own person. Ask her how to pay rent. She doesn't know. Ask her even the fundamentals of making a schedule to get to school on time and monitoring that herself. She doesn't know. So why would I leave that in her hands? Why would I leave the capabilities in her hands? And if that's the case, what's the point of being a parent? Why don't the children just sign themselves up for school? Why don't the children be allowed to just do whatever it is they please? If the administration is not monitoring what's going on with your child in the school, which is where I signed my child up for this school for. I had to literally pull both of my children out and homeschool them, which they were homeschooled before joining this district, due to being bullied at other districts. Made that perfectly clear. They said they had a no bullying policy. My son was stumped. It was explained to me that he was walked on.
My son,
Could I have your name, please?
my name is Christopher Bay. I'm her husband and the father of the two children. My son, Lee Bay, within all of just last year, 2022, he was transferred two different schools just because of them. One school he was stabbed with a pencil, hit in the head with a book. In October, I believe, and I met with Dr. Waltz and other administrators. You know, October, when he was transferred from King to Kennedy, because of that situation, as soon as he got into Kennedy, he was, what happened? It was a
He was
number of
assaulted by multiple children.
They
That's
were-
when he was hit upside the head with a book and basically told to sit in the corner and be quiet until your mama come and get you.
The other day, right before we pulled him out of school, he was slapped by the same child. And we asked to have a meeting for intervention. This was in October. We just had that meeting the 6th of February, the 2nd of February.
The 2nd of February.
No one contacted us. We reached out and reached out and reached out. So now he's been transferred to the LLC building. All this has transpired between 2022 and now. He just was transferred there 2 weeks ago.
And in 2 weeks, they love him. And he likes being at that school. He hasn't complained of being bullied.
Now, since my daughter was sexually assaulted in the library here, I've been in touch with the state's attorneys. I've been contacting the board. I've had an administration meeting with Dr. Waltz. I didn't even know you were a doctor, Dr. Sims, and a number of other people. We've been asking for them to be transparent with what's going on. It doesn't exist.
We're still waiting for documents that's gonna be redacted
Yeah.
from December the 2nd.
So our experience here in School District 111 with 2 children, it's been a nightmare. And I like what the missus was saying about the accountability of the administration. You know, you have to enforce the policy. The policy is supposed to be in conjunction with the organic constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. So if you're not enforcing the policy, or you're not reporting, then everyone I know up here, myself, and a lot of people out there, you all are mandated reporters. And the way that works is that you're supposed to report as soon as possible, right? And as long as you do that, you have amnesty. However, if you do not report as soon as possible, you can face sanctions on your license, civic and criminal charges, and things like that. And see, the problem is you don't have enough parents coming to do these things. They don't feel like they have the power, or they don't know how to do it. But these things have to be done. And like I said, as of right now, I had talked with the state's attorney. It's another student. The student that assaulted my daughter, he's 18. My daughter just turned 15, January 11th.
She was 14 when this happened. He was already 18. And he's assaulted another child in this school before, previously.
That child ended up pregnant and was moved away to Atlanta. No resource.
And lost her baby.
And that baby, yeah.
So they can't say we ain't community meeting. We community meeting. The problem with the community meeting is that the administration is willing to address their accountability.
Now, this child had been continuing to go to this school. That's how he was able to reach my daughter in the library. The detectives had come and asked for video footage. All of a sudden, the video cameras don't work.
In the same library that they're asking for more children to attend, they don't even have cameras.
The detectives want to know where this information is. They're being elusive. They're sweeping things under the rug. So my thing is if you enforce the policy, what you're supposed to do, then that will put things into play where these situations can't happen.
Now, I have a perfect example of one of the incidents that I had. Came to the principal during this week and asked Ms. Walter and explained how the uniform policy works to protect the children so that they won't have problems. And I explained to her different forms of ununiformed children, i.e. the way their lip gloss is positioned on their face. It's explained clearly in your policy. Promiscuous dressing is addressed in the policy. And all she could say is, we're not going to tell them not to wear lip gloss. I'm not saying not to wear lip gloss. I'm saying the way your lip gloss is addressed can be perceived as promiscuous. It should not be allowed. are for. I don't send my child to school for this to be a clown show. She ain't getting the lip gloss from at home.
Another thing, while we were in that meeting, we were called to the school because a photo situation with my daughter. Upon it being at that meeting, while in that meeting, Dr. Sims was called out of that meeting, and two female students told her about it, the incident in the library, which happened the day prior. So you have December 7th and December 8th. Okay? In that meeting, my wife, my daughter, Sims, there's another lady that we found out today, her information, and Officer Mendez, which was supposed to be the reporting officer, that did not report. Okay? We found her to not have been telling the truth. She says that the meeting never took place. Ms. Sims.
She said that the person who actually told me this was me. I'm asking why they didn't call her to the meeting then, because they said they called everybody to the meeting that needs to be there. So why wasn't she here if she's the person who told me? Even though my own eye, I'm verified, Ms. Sims is the person who came in and told me. At first, they told me that this never
Excuse
happened.
me, I'm going to have to stop you here. You know, you didn't mention names until you got to this point, so I'm gonna have to ask you to please meet with Dr. Sim. Can you meet with them in the hallway, please, and schedule an appointment for these people? All right.
What type of appointment are you trying to schedule? Because we already scheduled a meeting appointment and things like that. What type of meeting are you saying we're scheduling? Because she hasn't been, our situation with dealing with her is not credible.
Okay.
And we have good reasons it's not in our best interest to even deal with Mrs. Sims. That's why we're here at the meeting telling you.
Okay, well, you're not going to get dealt with during the board meeting.
Right.
And the board does not run the schools day to day. That work is delegated to the administration. Okay, so.
How does that correspondence supposed to take place?
Okay, and I just checked my emails. I haven't had any emails from you all. So if you had emailed me, I would turn it over to the administration. So this is what you need.
Okay, well, let me write down your information so we can.
No, I don't need you to email me. I'm still going to turn it over to the administration. Okay, thank you. All right. Christine Williams.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to leave a nice statement for a teacher here that I really witnessed doing really good work. It's unfortunate, the information that was just shared about the Library Success Center. I don't want to make any comments on that, but I will say that there is a person, Ms. Bell, that really, really deserves accolades for the work and the high expectations she has for all the students. I normally don't like to talk in front of a lot of people, but I couldn't sit there and not give her props because she has probably helped as many students that would probably fit this first 5 rows or even beyond this whole auditorium. I just started back working last year with the school district, and as I stated, there was a lot of students that really were behind, senior students, and I saw how a lot of them struggled. But I really, really, really thank God for allowing me to witness how one person can make a difference for more than probably 50 or 100 students. And, she didn't ask me to do this, but she also even helped me. I haven't worked in the district for like 3 or 4 years, and there's a lot of changes here. There are a lot of changes that I'm trying to adjust to myself. And I just really thank her for all the hard work she put in for the students as well as helping some of the adults as well. And I can say, I can probably count about 20 students that were very, very far behind as far as earning their credits, but they graduated last year. And that just made my heart smile to see that the kids didn't give up, and majority of the time, all the students needed somebody to believe in them. And that's what we need to get back to. We need to become really, really aware of how it is very important to listen to people's voices. Everybody's voice is important. And it's very important that we really have high expectations for students. And those students, a lot of students had a lot of different different lifestyles and different struggles. I'm not gonna, state any names or anything, but a lot of students didn't even have parents that supported them. So sometimes as teachers, we need to also just recognize that sometimes there's a lot of students that have issues that we wouldn't even believe or, that we would even comprehend. And we just need to just have more patience, more understanding, and just respect for each other, period. We need to just become more transparent. If you don't understand something, communicate that. Don't pretend you don't understand. Because what it becomes is a domino effect, and it affects everyone within the system. The structure will just fall apart. So we need to come back together to the point where we communicate, everybody's voice needs to be heard, and let's just do the right thing. It's very simple. It's easier to do the right thing than to have all these different vices and blame this person, blame that person, whatever. I'm sorry I didn't mean to take up this much time, but I really want to give Pamela Bell her props. I think we need to do that more often, like uplift each other more so than putting each other down. Yes. Thank you.
Octavia Smith.
I wanted to address the whole situation with the CBE. I don't, it's confusing. It is very confusing because it's different. It's not what we're used to. That's what I would say. So it's confusing. But I have 2 students here right now. And when the teacher said that they prefer to not implement this for the students, but the students are saying this is what's working for them, I'm confused. I don't understand how you want to take something away from them that they're saying is working for them. And then when she stated about the transcripts being altered, my son has grades on his transcript. When I sat down with his counselor, she doesn't know why they're there. So they're being altered, I guess, in both ways, negative and positive. You're saying they're being negative, being altered because they're trying to give students diplomas. But my son has grades on his transcript that shouldn't be there. She told me she would be auditing transcripts and it should be fixed by March. So that just goes to why our teachers not updating these students' grades. Like, it's not making sense. They're doing the work. Why aren't you updating everything in the system? That competency, it is staying the same, but then when you go and speak to someone, they did do it, they did pass, they have this now. So it's not adding up. So yeah, you have to do your part too. It's not just on the kids. I'm sorry. And everybody's world isn't black and white. Everybody's world doesn't go the same way every single day. So being able to go back and take a step back and fix things, it helps them a lot, especially my children. My kids don't know if they're going to be with me one day or another because I'm always in the hospital. So they can be uprooted in the middle of the night, and that can affect when they get to school that morning, if they even make it. Because, my mom had to go to the hospital tonight. So now my mind is somewhere else. So just because they had a situation at home, and I'm not saying like a dysfunctional situation, but we go through a lot of stuff. But because their mind wasn't there when you wanted it to be there, that means they don't get another chance. I don't think that's fair. I think CBE is helping out a lot of students. My son also showed me emails where he was emailing one of his teachers to ask her, what do I need to do this? What do I need to do that? He emailed her so much that his last email he sent, he CC'd Dr. Sims and Dr. Walters on it to show I am reaching out to her. She's not doing anything. So we're gonna have to figure something out, but getting rid of this system shouldn't be it. I don't agree with getting rid of it at all. So board, when you make your decision, please take into consideration the benefits that the kids are getting from it. Thank you.
Emmanuel Ramirez.
Hello, my name is Samuel Ramirez. I'm a senior in this high school. I've been a personal gifted student, POPS 2, since third grade my own self personally. And I'd just like to tell about how, me personally, I felt like CBE, the curriculum, just completely derailed my academic career. So all the way back into not even freshman, junior high, they were talking about implementing this new grading system right as we were about to leave and go into the high school. It was completely new, everybody was hopeful about it, and as soon as we get there, we're presented with this whole brand new thing, Slate. It's completely hard to understand. All the teachers can't figure out what's on it. Grades aren't on there that should be. Not all the classes are even on there. We have some stuff still on Skyward, and we are just told to deal with it. And around the time we make our schedules for our sophomore years, I speak with my counselor saying how, due to my advanced progression, I had already earned several credits in junior high. I was talking about how I wanted to see what I could do to graduate early. And I was told explicitly by her that the school was trying to prevent any early graduation and that is not what they would want for their students. This completely derailed the course of my career with just that one statement. A student that was on track to graduate early, he had several credits, he had taken several science classes. I had all my science classes done that freshman year. I had signed up for a biology class. I didn't even have a teacher for that year. I had him for 1 quarter of the year and then he quit afterwards. Then COVID hit, so we were all virtual for the rest of the year. And then all the grades from third quarter carried over to fourth quarter, negating any work that was done over the fourth quarter period. Then transferring over to my sophomore year, during first quarter, I was pulling all-nighters, staying up past midnight every night, trying to make up this work that I had missed, anything I hadn't done, trying to get my grades up. Just for it to be all said that it was not worth anything. I had already gotten all my classes done, but yet all these hours was wasted because I had been told that it didn't count because most students weren't doing their work. Then, going on to second semester, my whole family caught COVID. Both of my parents almost died, and during that, my credits were altered, and I had a lower amount of credits and a slightly raised GPA. I contacted the administration asking what was up with this, received no updates. They said they had fixed some issues, neglected to tell me what issues were fixed and what they were and when they were caused. And to this day, I still have no answer regarding that. And to make up for any work that was missed during this period of COVID, when my whole family was incapacitated, I was barely holding my siblings together, organizing, trying to get this house at least to stay together. I was told that we would be able to make up any assignments that were just marked as a competency-based, a graded task for these competencies given to the students. Once I was told that, I was trying to make up stuff from different teachers who were refusing to take assignments that were due in the past, teachers that didn't mark any assignments as a graded task, so I didn't know what to do. I had teachers that just weren't responding to any emails, and I just had an overall lack of communication with my counselor. And when she did respond, it was very unreliable information. Multiple times, Ms. Capone specifically had told me misinformation. She misinformed me about multiple things. To my parents, I had it all on email. She would literally outright not respond to some emails even. But carrying on into that, it just completely derailed me. I was off track. My grades were abysmal for the rest of the year. My freshman year, I had a 3.8 GPA. And the second year, I had that brought all the way down to a 2 point something. Then during my junior year, during first semester, they completely wiped everybody's schedules during after the first quarter. I was taken out of several classes I had signed up for, refused to be put back into it because they said it wouldn't be an easy fix. Even though that is their job, not to have an easy fix, but to have a fix to the schedule that they messed up. They took me out of several classes, signed me up for classes I did not sign up for, refused to give me any credits for any of my classes that I took. I had worked wasted from all those classes first semester. I was sitting on the floor for first quarter, just sitting on the floor doing nothing, having rooms with no teachers, and repeatedly just having my time wasted, being thrown around, told that this is not an easy fix for my schedule. Come second quarter, we all were thrown into random classes, and we were meeting up repeatedly with administration to try and get my schedule rectified. We were told again, repeatedly, it's not an easy fix. We won't put you in this. They were telling me that I had stuff missing from my sophomore year, and due to that, they weren't able to put me into any classes that were needed. So if it was a single class that was in a different period, they said they weren't able to put me in a different period for that class because it would have an available spot. They said it's not an easy fix. I wasn't able to be put back into the class that I was taken out of because due to them putting other students in that class, it was now full and it wasn't an easy fix. Because of that, I was unable to do any of my work from all my other classes. That, you know, the blow of a motivation that could be to a student to just have all their progress for the year reset just like that. For the rest of the year, I was just completely, I even wasn't able to attend an English class for all of first semester because of a set schedule timing overlap. I had to join that class during the middle of the year, trying to recover from anything that I had missed before in that class with no accommodations from anyone in that class. And afterwards, I had to just go completely remote just to try and save any type of integrity in my grades. During this time, I was also taking a KCC class to try and make up an English credit. I was told that this would count for an English credit. To this day, I have still not received anything for that class, even though we were told specifically that is why I should take this class. Moving on to this year currently, I am trying to apply to colleges. For my during first quarter, I was trying to get my schedule fixed because I was put into classes that I did not need and classes that I did not sign up for repeatedly. There were classes that I did not enjoy the teaching method in, I did not enjoy the teaching standards in them, and I had even classes that we had no teachers for. Photoshop was this class specifically. I was sitting in an empty room with no teachers. Every day I walked over there, they said, we don't know if the person's being hired and that you should switch out of it. Why was I allowed to sign up for this class if we didn't have a teacher for it? Why is it listed as a class if you don't have anyone here to provide the information? After that, I had applied to Eastern Illinois College over Christmas break during second semester, and I was immediately denied. Admission due to the fact that my transcript was incorrect. My GPA was at a 2 point something due to incorrect bookkeeping. I had missed classes. I had classes I didn't take, classes I transferred out of, classes I did take that I didn't even get the credit for, and just incorrect grades for classes that I passed. I have all these emails, and I had to go back and forth for months, talking to each counselor, talking to each administrator, talking to each principal, trying to get my transcript fixed. And after all this, all the way in February, I finally got it fixed. And then, after this, I still had to speak with people just to get a few classes switched around, and I had to people lying directly to my face, like when I had asked to be switched to a different class period, and I was told that they were full for that period, even though a teacher had told me specifically that they had space in that class. I had to say to her, oh, that's crazy. I was under the understanding that she said she had the space for it. And I'm just confused on why we have such a dishonest administration and a whole lack of organization that all this type of stuff. When my transcript was finally updated with the proper grades, I had 3.8 GPA. And for that to go all the way from a 2-something and be denied college access, and me having to fight for my actual grades that I earned properly, it's just outrageous for the school district. And it's completely abysmal that you want to sit here and chuckle at my statements while I'm over here exclaiming how I could have been out of this school in my junior year, and now we have all this talking about how, oh, all these graduation requirements are going to be waived, and how all my classes that I took, I could have been out of the school district in my sophomore year with these waiving of all the grade requirements with these. Oh, you just need to have these 3 classes, 6 credits out of the 22 required just to graduate with a diploma.
All right.
How do you like me now?
I think they were clapping because there's just been a lot of frustration for everybody involved in the whole system. We could hear you as well. And we just want it to be right. And I want to clear something up.
Okay, Beth, I'm gonna ask you to come and take the mic so that everyone can hear you.
So if that's gonna happen, so can I clear some things up? The email, Mr. Bowman, while she's coming up, you sent me a correspondence that was given to the counselors. That's the first time I saw it, and yet it was stated that I created it. That's not true. And so I just want to clear some things when we get ready to talk about the grading guidance, because much of the information I received from you.
My name is Beth Anderson, and I'm the president of KFT. I graduated from Kankakee. I currently teach at Pragler. I want to be really clear about something. We want CBE. I just signed the waiver. I signed it the first time. We believe in CBE because it's supposed to provide mastery and equity. That's what we want for our community. We signed the waiver because we were pushing kids out of here with D minuses. That's why we signed the waiver. We're asking the board to not vote on CBE, but the grading policy that would provide students with the only 6 credits. They just need 6 credits to graduate with a D. They have to earn a D in 6 classes to graduate. That's not the intent. That's not why we signed on for CBE. Those students now have to leave Kankakee and compete with other people that had 4 years of English, 4 years of math, 3 years of science, and 3 years of social science. Our kids are not going to be able to compete. That's not equity. And I'm not proud of that. I want to be proud of Kankakee. I'm from here. I've worked here for 25 years. We deserve a lot better. And this isn't it. This is not working. We are not working. We don't want this grade policy to change. We want our students to be educated. They deserve that. 100%. And we need to be accountable too. We don't disagree with that.
Ben, you're supposed to address your comments to the board.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I was a little bit under, Dr. Walters had emailed earlier that we would have a discussion in the public about CBE in response to some of our remarks. So that's why I was addressing it.
I apologize, I meant the board would have a discussion.
Okay.
So can I clarify some things? I think it's really important to clear up some misinformation. There was you should have blue papers somewhere in your possession. And if you look at those blue papers, you'll see a series of meetings that was by the audit team that did not consist of any administration and did not consist of the superintendent. And it starts in September, and there's some detailed information. I had to redact the names because the teachers that failed to do some of the things that they were supposed to do needed to be redacted because it wouldn't be fair to them for you to see that information. So there was a group of teachers. They requested to do an audit because of the very reasons that the young man described. The transcripts they did not have accurate information. So the audit team that consisted of the teachers systematically went through individual student transcripts and found a lot of errors due to adult errors, including credits that the students received at the junior high that were not on the transcripts. And so as a result of the audit, there were some recommendations made to me concerning how they were going to rectify, and I hate to hesitate to say that, things like students were never put in a geometry class. And so now they're a senior, had never been put in a geometry class, which is our fault, and now we're saying that they're going to not graduate because they don't have a geometry class. So the recommendations came from that team that for this year only, now that we have clean transcripts, we would make some decisions around competencies. And so, for example, if a student was able to pass senior English, would your assumption be that they could pass freshman, sophomore, and junior English?
But we have to clarify, if they get a D in competencies in math.
Ms. Anderson.
Oh, okay.
All right. So this is what was explained to me, and actually, I've asked the board to actually sit with the audit team in a private setting, because I also don't think it's fair for me to say who the members of the audit team are, because there's some concerns about being discussed in public, that their role in this process. So if a student passes English 4, this is just for this class, the assumption is that they have the competencies in the lower level English according to the audit team, Ms. Anderson. And so then that would actually give them credits based on competencies. And so if a student goes to KCC their freshman year, which we don't have that, but if a student goes to, we do have some sophomores, if a student goes to KCC and passes an English class, the assumption is that they have passed their competencies in the lower level classes. And so they do get credit for their competencies, not for Carnegie credit course, the way that I went to school, but for the fact that they've shown that they actually know that information, and then they get the credit for knowing that information. So that is what the audit team brought to me. But what I'm asking the board to do is to have those 5 or 6, how many of them, without saying their names, Dr. Sims? Those 6 people to come before you and explain their rationale for what they presented to me. There are blue forms out that actually give the notes from each of their meetings starting in September around how they made their decisions. They're so good with their details that it actually also says in there at the points that I was actually included. Now, what was read about what I said was not what I said. What I had to clarify is a screenshot of something that was given to the counselors to help the counselors explain what the students need to do to actually gain their competencies. So what I'm asking the board is to take the time to sit with the audit team that actually went through the transcripts so they can say where the student errors were and where the adult errors were, so that you can make an informed decision about the recommendation that they made to me concerning what they would like the seniors to have an opportunity to do in order to graduate. They have to perform at a high level or else they cannot get those credits. And I don't know.
Okay, I'm
Just,
sorry.
can I have one more statement?
Excuse me. Actually, public comments are made to the president. So we've gone far beyond our policy. So just this once. This will never happen again.
Okay, I think our contention, just for clarification, and from the teacher's point of view, we just want the public to understand that a D, for example, in a math competency means that students can start a problem, but they cannot finish it on their own independently. It means when they're reading and writing, it's at a middle school level, not junior high, middle school. So what we're contesting is that we're setting graduation criteria of 6 Ds. So that's not high school competency, that's not high school mastery, that would be very different. So we're contesting setting 6 Ds as the graduation criteria for the class of 2023 and not having to pass any of their other classes.
And what I'm asking the board to do is to sit with the audit team that made that recommendation to me while they were allowing that.
Okay. That is the end of public comments. We will move on to item G, board report. And at this time, the president will not make a report. We would like to move on with this meeting. I will move on to the Facility and Finance Chair. Jess, are you prepared to speak?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
There was a meeting held on the 26th, and I was a part of the meeting from my hospital. And,
Thank you for that.
we did discuss, I think, what did we discuss?
We set priorities for future capital projects.
And that's what we discussed. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. All right, we're moving on to item H, action items. I need approval, I need a motion to approve the action items.
So move.
Moved by Gavin, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Johnston. Any questions? Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Yes.
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 Yes. And now we are on to item I, action item. Number one, approval of the board equity agreement. Can I have a motion?
Excuse me. Before we get into that, can we table 6?
Yes. We can table 6 when we get to it. We can table it when we get to it. Okay, can I have a motion?
So move.
Okay, moved by Gavin, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bowman. Any discussion? Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Yes.
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 Yes, and the motion carries. Number 2, approval to accept the bid from Midway Construction Group for mercury abatement in the back gym at Kankakee High School.
So move.
Moved by Gavin, is there a second? Second by Archie. Any questions?
Madam Chairman,
Yes,
is
Mr. Bowman?
this an add onto the contract for the,
Mr. Savage, are you ready to answer that?
Yes, it's both the mercury abatement and then the asbestos abatement. So
this was not included in the contract to be approved for
The initial construction contract.
I know asbestos abatement was, but I'm not sure about mercury.
I believe the mercury is they took a sample of the floor and realized that they had to get that mercury out before they could go in there and do any of the construction in the back gym.
okay.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Yes.
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 Yes, and the motion carries. Number 3, approval of general liability and property insurance renewal.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Gavin, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Boland. Are there any questions? Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Yes.
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 Yes. And the motion carries. Number 4, approval of contract with School Bus Logistics, LLC.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Gavin, is there a
Second.
second?
Second.
Second by Williams. Any questions from the board? Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Yes.
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 Yes, and the motion carries. Number 5, approval to purchase video board, scoreboard, and clock for community center from Severett Electric.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Gavin, second. Second by Archie. Madam Secretary, are there any questions?
I have a question.
Ms.
We
Johnston?
didn't include that in the 25 million that we're spending.
Well, because it's technology, and we had discussed at a finance committee meeting that half of it was going to come from youth empowerment, because our goal is to have movie nights in the community center. And youth empowerment offices will also be in the community center.
So the purchase price of this, that's half of what the whole board costs, or is this the whole price?
That's the whole price, but the revenue source is never included in the recommendation. We had discussed that at finance committee, that youth empowerment would pay for half.
Okay.
And we did include that in the budget for the recent $1.3 million that we received from youth empowerment.
Okay, thank you.
So the total price is, I'm sorry, I missed what you said. The 490 is our half?
No.
No,
That's
that's the
all.
total price.
Okay.
We, in our.
Total price for all six, for more than six boards, the video board, what, quite a few scores in the whole facility, for 3 courts, or actually for 4 courts.
Well, we're only paying for the movie part.
And,
So, but we never talk about the revenue source when we make a recommendation for, expenditures.
All right, have a motion on the floor. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Williams,
Yes.
Archie, Boland,
No.
Gavin,
yes,
Johnston,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Wells,
Yes, and the motion carries.
Just for clarification, we allocated $250,000 in our youth empowerment grant, but we do expect to use a community center for our students, for our youth empowerment students.
Okay, and we're on to item 6.
motion to table.
All right,
Second.
motion to table item 6 by Gavin, seconded by Williams. Any questions?
It's not debatable.
Okay.
Roll call.
Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Archie, Boland,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes,
Johnston,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Wells,
Yes, and the motion carries. Item 6 is tabled. The rest of the agenda, we have the Head Start information, we have our federal and state revenue update, the budget update, and the previous bill run. Calendar notes, February 20th, the President's Day. There will be no school. The 24th through the 26th is Black History Month. Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about a reception that hasn't been completely planned yet. So on Saturday, we're hoping to have a discussion around equity and what our students are feeling and just kind of understanding their experiences with a facilitator. His name is Marquise Roberson. He's no longer with Equal Opportunity Schools, but he has been working with us since 2017 with our Equal Opportunity Schools. I don't have much detail, we just started planning it a week ago. And so I'm hoping to have more detail after we get through what we're going through like right now. So hopefully tomorrow I can spend a little bit more time getting more details around how that's gonna be scheduled. The other thing I want to add is I'm suggesting that the audit team come to the March 2nd board meeting to talk with the board. Is that,
Yes.
okay?
All right, and so we have a special board meeting on March 2nd where we're going to undertake a number of items on the agenda. We're meeting with the audit team. We are choosing our focus on equity, and we're also going to be discussing the letter that we're going to send out to superintendent search firms. So put on your comfortable clothes because we're going to be there a while.
Kind of like tonight,
March 2nd, March 2nd.
like a repeat of tonight, right?
Hopefully not. Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Okay, can I make a?
like tonight.
I am sorry, the audit team will be in I'm just finding out that the audit team will be in Florida because they're working on the transition from Slate to Skyward. And the Skyward Conference is going to help them to make that transition. And so we may have to have the audit team in front of us maybe on March 13th, or
We could meet them in Florida. I see no problem with that.
I'm not going, but, because I have too much work to do. Or we can have 2 board members meet with the audit team. So that's up to the board in Florida.
No, I think the whole board needs to hear the same thing, otherwise.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
So then I apologize, it'll have to be March 13th. I didn't realize that, I knew that they were scheduled to go and work on that, I just didn't realize it was that day.
All right, so that being the end of the agenda, if there's nothing further from the board, can I have a motion to adjourn? Moved and second, all in favor? All right, this meeting of the Board of Education is